Washi, what if I told you a teenager became a Pan Am pilot without any training? What if I told you he cashed $2.5 million in fake checks across 26 countries? What if I told you he escaped from prison twice using nothing but his words? Frank Abagnale Jr. didn't tunnel out of Alcatraz. He didn't spend millions on engineering. He didn't need weapons or violence. He had something better: charisma, intelligence, and an uncanny ability to become whoever he needed to be. Between ages 16 and 21, he impersonated a Pan Am pilot, a pediatrician, a lawyer, a college professor. He seduced women, fooled the FBI, and when they finally caught him, he escaped. Then they caught him again, and he escaped again. This is the true story behind Catch Me If You Can, the con artist who turned lying into an art form, Frank William Abagnale Jr., born April 27, 1948, in Bronxville, New York. But the story really begins with his parents, the family. His father, Frank Abagnale Sr., was a successful businessman, charismatic, well-respected, a man who knew how to work people. His mother, Paulette, was French, elegant, cultured. Young Frank grew up in a comfortable middle-class home. Private school, nice neighborhood. Everything seemed perfect until it wasn't. The divorce. When Frank was 14, his parents divorced. The split was messy, bitter. The court asked young Frank to choose, live with his mother or his father? He ran away instead. That choice, to run rather than choose, would define the rest of his teenage years. Age 15, the first con. Frank discovered something powerful. People believe what you project. His first scam? Simple. He altered his driver's license, adding 10 years to his age. Suddenly, 15-year-old Frank looked 25. He got a job, opened a bank account, started writing bad checks. Within months, he'd stolen thousands of dollars from local businesses. But this was just practice. Age 16. The big idea. Frank realized something. The bigger the lie, the more people believe it. Nobody questions a pilot. Nobody questions a doctor. Nobody questions authority. So Frank Abagnale Jr., a 16-year-old high school dropout, decided to become a pilot. Do not go to flight school. Not train. Not earn it. Just become one. And he did. 1964. Frank Abagnale is 16 years old. He walks into a Pan Am office and tells them he's a pilot who lost his uniform in a hotel fire. Can they help him get a replacement? They believed him. They gave him a uniform. Step 1. Look the part with a pan. Am pilot's uniform, Frank looked like an authority. Nobody questioned him. Step 2. Learn the language. Frank studied everything about aviation, Pan Am routes, aircraft types, pilot terminology, crew procedures. He visited airports, watched pilots, learned how they talked, walked, and acted. Step 3. The deadhead trick. Here's the genius. Frank never actually flew the planes. He used something called deadheading, when pilots ride as passengers in the cockpit jump seat to get to their next assignment. Frank would show up at airports in his Pan Am uniform, flash a fake ID, and say, "I'm deadheading to city. Can I catch a ride in the jump seat?" They'd let him on. Free flights, all over the world. The fake checks. But how did Frank make money? Pan Am had a system. Pilots could cash checks at hotels worldwide. The airline would reimburse the hotels later. Frank created fake Pan Am payroll checks, cashed them at hotels in every city he visited. By the time the hotels realized the checks were fake, Frank was long gone. The lifestyle. For 2 years, Frank lived like a king, flew over 1 million miles on 250 flights, visited 26 countries, stayed in luxury hotels, dated beautiful flight attendants, never paid for anything. He was 16, then 17, then 18. Still a teenager, living a fantasy. The problem, the FBI noticed. Banks noticed. Pan Am noticed. Thousands of fake checks. Hundreds of thousands of dollars stolen. But every time they got close, Frank would disappear. Change identities. Become someone else. So Frank made his next move. He stopped being a pilot. He became a doctor. 1966. Frank Abagnale is 18 years old. He's abandoned the pilot con. Too much heat, Time for a new identity. Frank moves to Georgia, rents an apartment, notices that a pediatrician lives in his building. Inspiration strikes. Frank created a fake medical degree from Columbia University, hangs it on his wall. Then he applies to be a supervising pediatrician at a hospital. The hospital checks his credentials. The fake degree looks real. They hire him. For nearly a year, Frank Abagnale, with zero medical training, supervised pediatric interns. He didn't treat patients directly. He just supervised, signed paperwork, gave orders, and nobody questioned him. One day, a nurse brings a blue baby, an infant with oxygen deprivation, to Frank. "Doctor, what do we do?" Frank has no idea. He's not a doctor. He's a con artist. He makes an excuse. Call a real doctor. The baby survives. That's when Frank realized this con could kill someone. He quit the next day. Frank moves to Louisiana, studies for the bar exam using borrowed law books. Incredibly, he passes. A high school dropout passed the Louisiana bar exam. He gets a job at the state attorney general's office. For months, Frank has worked as a lawyer. He prepares cases, does legal research, and he's actually good at it. But the FBI is closing in. Agent Carl Hanratty has been tracking Frank for years. Every fake check, every stolen identity, every con. The net is tightening. Frank knows it. Time to run again. But this time, running isn't enough. This time they catch him. 1969. Frank Abagnale is 21 years old. He's in France, still running, still conning. But French police, working with the FBI, finally catch him. He's arrested in Montpellier, France, charged with fraud in multiple countries. The French prison. Frank is sent to a French prison. Conditions are harsh, medieval. Nothing like American prisons. He's facing extradition. Once he's back in the US, he'll spend decades in prison. Frank knows he has one chance: escape before extradition. The first escape. The toilet trick. Here's how Frank did it. Every day, guards would remove the toilet from his cell for cleaning. Frank was allowed to watch. Frank noticed the inspection hatch above the toilet was just barely too small for a person, unless you removed the toilet first. One day, while guards were distracted, Frank removed the toilet himself, climbed through the hatch, crawled through the prison's ancient ventilation system. He emerged on the roof, climbed down, walked out. Freedom. For 6 months, Frank hid in France, then moved across Europe. But he made a mistake. He went back to an old girlfriend. The police were watching her. They grabbed him. Back to prison. This time more secure. More guards, more surveillance. Frank was extradited to Sweden, then back to the United States. U.S. federal prison. 12 years, no parole, or so they thought. 1971. Frank is being transported between prisons. He's in a U.S. Marshal's custody. Maximum security transport. But Frank Abagnale doesn't need tunnels or weapons. He needs psychology. The setup. During transport, Frank befriends the marshals, talks to them, charms them. He learns the system, the protocols, the weak points, the con. One day, Frank tells a marshal, "I'm working with the FBI now. I'm being moved to a safe location to help with an investigation. You'll get a call confirming this." The marshal is skeptical, but Frank is convincing. Then Frank's accomplice calls the prison pretending to be the FBI. "We need prisoner Abagnale transferred immediately. Federal investigation, classified." The prison checks. The FBI agent on the phone sounds official, knows the protocols. They believe it. The escape. Frank is released into the custody of his FBI handler. Actually just an accomplice. They drive away. Frank disappears again. This time caught for good. The escape lasts only days. The real FBI is furious. They throw everything at finding him. When they catch him this time, there's no more mercy. 12 years. Federal prison. No more transfers. No more chances. But then something unexpected happens. The FBI makes Frank an offer. After serving less than 5 years, Frank Abagnale gets a visitor, the FBI. The offer: help us catch con artists. Teach us how fraud works. We'll reduce your sentence. Frank agrees. He's released in 1974, age 26, after serving only 5 years of his 12-year sentence. The conditions: work with the FBI on fraud cases. No committing crimes, report to probation officer. Frank becomes a consultant. He helps banks detect fake checks. He teaches FBI agents about fraud schemes. And he discovers something. He's good at this. The transformation. Over the following decades, Frank Abagnale became one of the world's leading experts on fraud prevention. Consults for the FBI, advises corporations on security, gives lectures worldwide, writes books about fraud detection, designs security features for checks and documents. In 2002, Steven Spielberg directed Catch Me If You Can, starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Frank. The movie makes Frank a legend. His story becomes iconic. Today, Frank Abagnale is in his 70s, still consulting, still lecturing. He's been married for over 40 years, has 3 sons. He's never committed another crime. From teenage con artist to respected security consultant, from fugitive to FBI ally. Frank's story is one of redemption, proof that people can change. But here's the question. Some investigators claim Frank exaggerated his exploits, that he wasn't really a pilot, that the cons weren't as elaborate. Frank maintains that every story is true. The FBI says his help has been invaluable. Real or embellished, Frank Abagnale's story remains one of the greatest con artist tales ever told. Frank Abagnale didn't escape through violence or engineering. He escaped through psychology. His weapon was words, his tools were confidence and intelligence. And when he finally stopped running, he became more valuable to law enforcement than 100 agents. This is Beyond the Bars, where we go deeper than the headlines. If you want more stories like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. What do you think? Is Frank Abagnale a criminal or a genius? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.